Hey guys, welcome to the Newbie Real Estate Investors of New Jersey podcast. My name is Joey Chan and I have my partner here, Jonathan Boyle.
Yes, and today we're here with Antwan Webb and we are talking with him about his contracting experience, more specifically with Chimneys. So stay tuned, everyone.
Hey Antwan, how are you?
Doing good, Joey. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
As always. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and your history, basically.
Sure, Joey and John. So, my history. Well, I got into contracting at 15.
Okay.
And then from contracting, I was able to build my sales skills through being out in the world. And then I transitioned into real estate.
Okay.
And I was actually heading up the department for my contracting company that handled all of the REO. So I was taking care of all of the REO properties, writing all of the estimates, handling and managing the accounts. And then from there, I leveraged what I knew from there to transition into speaking and coaching and to the different avenues that I'm doing today, which are in the educational field and scaling my personal courseware. So it's been a really wild transition from being a contractor and being in the trenches to then, going and being able to lead troops right through the trenches. So it's been pretty wild ride. I'll share that with you guys.
Awesome. So, Antwan, as far as the contracting aspect of it, I guess, can you elaborate a little bit more?
Sure. So right now we're at A1 Affordable Chimneys and Roofing. It's in Clifton, New Jersey, on Getty Ave, and we've been in business since 1992. It is a family-owned and operated company, and my stepfather owns the company. And we focus on chimneys, so we're chimney specialists.
Okay.
And so let's say it's 30 degrees out, and you start noticing your house is getting a little cold, and it's getting colder, and it's getting colder, and then 3 o'clock in the morning comes around, and you're cold with the blankets around. You're wondering what the hell's going on, and your heat's not working. Well, then you call PSC&G, and they come out to you. Or you call whoever your provider is for your furnace and your hot water heater and etc. And they look at it and they say, "Oh, the unit's fine, but you got to take a look at your chimney," and then that's where we come in. So that's where our niche is.
Okay. So what's typically the issue in that situation?
So a lot of times, the chimney is the number one thing that's forgotten about in the home, right?
Yes.
So like we buy, we're good, we're set up, right? We get our new place, we're excited.
Yeah.
We see the fireplace there, fireplace has been cleaned out, right? It says, on paperwork, whatever, when they get to home. Great. Well, what about the furnace flue? And everyone has a furnace flue.
Mm-hmm.
So you say, hey, do you have a chimney on your home? People are like, no, I don't have a fireplace.
Yeah.
Well, you have heat and hot water in your home? Yeah, or you got a chimney flue. So it really is something that goes so unnoticed.
Right.
And it performs a very integral task inside of the home. It's exhausting the dangerous gases and fumes outside the home.
Right.
Right? So it's keeping you safe. So as far as, what are some of the common problems? A lot of times you have wear and tear on the outside, right? From the rain, it's brick and mortar.
Right.
It doesn't last forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to wear and tear.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that gets overseen. A lot of times you just happen to just keep passing by that little bit of dusty cement on the floor around the outside of your, little alleyway.
Right.
And then now 3 years later, you got an issue.
Okay.
Right? Or you haven't cleaned the chimney and since you bought the home because you didn't think you had one.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you didn't.
It's never a problem until it is a problem.
Right. Because you didn't even know you had a chimney.
Right. So the best course of action is always to, hey, have your chimney looked at once a year. right? Because it is performing a very, very integral function.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's definitely something to think about, because I know in New Jersey a lot of homes are a lot older, and chimneys nowadays, like you could have a home, like for example, the home that I live in was built in 1899.
Sure.
Like I'm pretty confident there's probably not even a chimney liner in it now that I know more about
Probably
the
not.
business. But 2.5, 3 years ago when I bought it, I didn't even think about that, because I'm just like,
Right.
it's a chimney, there's heat in the house, that's it.
That's it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? There's not
Yeah.
a problem till there is one.
Yeah.
So.
Will you be able to tell us more about the chimney later on?
Yeah, definitely.
That'll be our bonus segment later on.
I
So
think
we're gonna-
that would be
We're gonna
a great
have that
idea.
for you guys.
Yeah.
Because we do have one, like right here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we'll touch on that. I'll definitely run
So
you guys
definitely will.
through some checkpoints to keep an eye at, and
Yeah.
we'll give you some price ranges, for our contractor friends out there and investors, so you don't get it.
Yeah, for sure. So I myself as a contractor, one of my weak points is the chimney, right? I would say chimneys and HVAC systems is
Yeah,
something
sure,
where I
HVAC.
don't specialize in, and that's something that I would think most other contractors know very little about.
Sure.
So this is such a helpful segment to have.
Well, I'm happy to do it for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, the niche, that this particular niche is in our area. There are quite a few contractors that do particularly focus in on the niche,
Right.
but nationwide, it is totally an underdeveloped niche. And you have a lot of people who are running their homes off oil, right? You have a lot of plumbers. They'll inspect the systems and the heating units,
Yes.
etc. Right? They'll come in. You're probably familiar chimney certifications,
Yes.
right? So now what a lot of the inspectors in these towns are catching on to is that, hey, these homes are from the 1800s. These homes they're old. They've had soot inside the chimney for however many years that it's been, right? And now all of a sudden, we're going to get technologically advanced in these homes, and we're going to put high efficiency units in.
Okay.
That should be good, right? Here's where it becomes an issue. Like you said, your chimney in your 1800-year-old home probably doesn't have a chimney liner, which it probably doesn't, and it probably doesn't have any terracotta flue lining either, which the terracotta flue lining, when they're building these chimneys, they're 2-foot stacks, and they stack on top of each other the whole 30 or 40 foot run of your chimney.
Right.
Okay.
And in between each of these stacks is a mortar joint. And so that's how they stay in place. And then they build the bricks around that. So the gases in a newer home today, to the building code, and they're changing it now again, is you have to have the terracotta flues.
Yes.
Contains the gas. The gas can't eat away and erode at the brick, because remember, there's oil residue in there. If it's an old home, if it's not new construction, there's oil residue in there. So you may have converted, you may have bought the house after it was converted, there's oil in there. So the issue that happens when you have a chimney in your situation, hypothetically, right, because we haven't seen it, I haven't seen it, is you have this large chamber. Now, the chambers behind you, they're come in different sizes. Fireplace chambers are like 9 by 13 inches, 9 inches by 13. You have 13 by 13 fireplaces, are bigger. You can build a bigger fire.
Right.
And then your furnace cavity is 8 by 8 inches normally. And so what happens, you don't have the terracotta lining. You have that oil unit, that's a big unit, right? It's pushing out a lot of BTU. And the BTU is how they measure the power of the unit and the efficiency. So that BTU count is usually high on an oil unit, right? So now you got this let's say it's 9 by 9
Right.
cavity, right? Because there's nothing inside of it. And you have this furnace that has, let's say, 250,000 BTUs, right? An 8 by 8 cavity can hold up to 300,000 BTUs.
Okay.
Cool. You're filling up the cavity kind of enough that it's going to have a decent draft if it's in good condition inside.
Right.
So what happens is that gas, right? When you switch those units out, you take that 250 out,
Yep.
right? And that's not counting the hot water heater either, right? So you have
Yeah.
the 250 and the hot water heater.
Yes.
You're good.
40,
You're
50,000,
pushing, right? No terracotta flues inside. Okay. So the gas is going in and it's filling up that chamber pretty quickly.
Yep.
So if you think of the chimney like a straw, you put the straw in the drink, you get a good suction when you use it. If you bang the straw too hard on the table, you put the straw in the drink, you don't get a good suction, right? The chimney works the same way. It's a vacuum, right? There's no machines in it. It's working off draft, air pressure differences. So when you install those high efficiency units, you have soot inside the chamber, right? And now you have two issues that happens with this. One, you're dropping the BTU load down, right? So it's higher efficiency, it's costing you less in your gas consumption, etc., to run the unit, which is great in the long run. But what happens to this cavity? So now this cavity that's unlined, the gas is going in it, it's not as powerful. So now the gas has to, it's called the gas residency time. The residency time of the gas is longer inside that chamber because what's gas's property, it's got to fill up the space before it goes up, right? So which is why this is so important to have your chimney properly lined and sized to the BTUs that are on the unit. So now you got the hot water heater throws off condensation, right?
Okay.
So you got the hot water heater throwing off condensation inside the chimney. As that gas goes up in the chamber, it cools, causes moisture.
Right.
Chimney starts to sweat on the inside. Now that condensation, that moisture mixes with the acidic soot that's left over inside the chimney. And what's that doing to all the cement? It's eating it all up inside, right?
Okay.
So now we go and check the chimney some time later after you change the units. It's great, cool. Now one of the units stops working for some reason. I just got this unit. What is the issue? What's the problem? You want to call up the guy, tell him, hey, listen, what you put in doesn't work. And then he comes out to your house and he says, well, look, this unit does work, but there's another issue. And the issue is the chimney.
Yeah.
And so the unit, because you cut that BTU load in half and didn't reline and resize that chimney, stresses the unit out. It burns out in double the time, and now you're sitting there wondering why the product that you built that was supposed to last isn't lasting. And so it's because it's overworking, it's constantly running to fill up that chamber so that the gases can escape. Now, like I told you with that straw example, when you bang the straw too hard on the table and you put it in, you don't get a good suction. Yeah. Well, that's what's happening when the interior of the mortar joints become starting to erode, and then you get holes inside the mortar joints, and then it kills your draft. And so now really it isn't drafting. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So when you install a stainless steel or aluminum sleeve inside the chimney that's properly sized and lined to the furnace and the hot water heater BTU input, now we got like a turbojet. So we don't have to rip the chimney down to the ground and rebuild it. This is the way to make your chimney brand new without having to rip it down through the house floor floors.
Makes sense.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great explanation.
Yeah.
A lot. It explains.
I think that
everything.
Like you explained it very well. Like because when I did a 3-family in Bloomfield, where I had to have a new chimney liner added for 3 different boilers or whatnot.
Right.
And he couldn't explain it half as good as but all I know is I had to put in 2 different chimney liners and that's basically all I knew.
Don't worry. Next time you come over this way, and we make sure we get a good explanation.
It's done right.
We got you covered. But yeah, that's kind of a little overview of the chimney stuff. But there's a lot we can get into.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a whole education package by itself.
Oh yeah. We can go for a while.
So I want to kind of jump into the next thing, kind of like what you're doing now.
Okay.
Get into a little bit of the nitty gritty into that.
Okay.
So let's talk about a little bit of that, the coaching and things like that.
So the coaching and the things like that. You're standing in the room where it all started for me, right? I don't know if you can see the back.
Can I stop you for a second before you
Sure.
do that? So, Antwan was the first person that got me kind of involved in doing videos and things like that. About like a year and a half ago?
Yeah. Yep.
So we did our first video shot right here in this spot.
Yep.
About a year and a half ago. I was nervous as hell, and it was crazy.
You crushed it that day, though. We
It
had a
was
lot
okay.
of fun.
It was okay.
You did well. I mean, look at you now. Podcast, have everyone going all around town.
Yeah.
Now you're the name of the town. Now. Call you Joey the Mayor.
Thank you.
So, all right. So, kind of like what I'm doing now, and like how this kind of all happened. So, I did Chimneys since I was 15.
Right.
It was either I'm going to be in football practice or I'm going to be working. And so, from a young age, my stepfather, old school Italian guy, rules his business with an iron fist. He don't give a shit. Oh, you're 5 minutes late? No problem. Give me 50 push-ups. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like that. No, but you want to work today? All right, no problem. You're gonna give those 50 push-ups. You just stay there till you're done. kind of thing. So, which was good. I was able to build a lot of work ethic from that, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been out in the trucks, I've been on the roofs, I've cleaned the chimneys, I've dug the holes, right? So I know luxury when I see it, right? Because I've been through the bottom. I know what that's about. I know what that's like every day, and so I knew that I wanted to do, as I progressed through the ranks here at our family company. And I was, managing very large accounts for the company, and it was good and solid, set for life. I don't have to do shit else. I could just do this.
Yeah.
But I said no. I'm gonna figure something else out. I want to make something. I want to create something, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But what I did know is that I really enjoyed sharing my perspective. And I enjoyed sharing it with my family, with my friends. People would call me up and ask me for advice. And, I am a confidant for a lot of people that I'm surrounded by. And I feel blessed to be that, right?
Yeah.
And happy to, right? So I said, okay, if I'm going to do something, what am I doing already? And what would I do that I wouldn't care? If I didn't get paid for it, would I still do it? Right? That's the point. Like, if I didn't make $1 from it, would I still do it? And I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, still talking to people. Still talking them off the edge,
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let me see if I can have some fun with that. So it was around the time that me and you did our first video. I started doing my videos a little bit earlier before you, but not much.
Okay.
So I said, okay, you know what? Screw it. I want to just start putting myself out there on social. And so every morning I'd wake up and I'd get on my Instagram or Facebook and I'd say, hey, what's up, guys? It's Antwan. Hope everyone's having an awesome day.
Yeah.
I just wanted to pop on, let you guys know, as an entrepreneur, you're not always going to have the best days. But if you're really committed to where you're going to go and you're going to get there, then you're going to take the necessary steps to do that. No matter if it's raining or shining, it's raining today, but be your own sunshine. Have an awesome day, guys. Catch you on the next one. That's it. And I did that for maybe a year.
Okay.
And then I got annoyed.
Yeah,
One day.
I saw a lot of your.
I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this shit anymore. I'm not making any more videos. I'm not making money from them.
Right.
No one's paying me to do them.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do them. It's taking, like, I'm working full time in contracting. I'm freaking doing, 2 videos a day, a video a day, And I'm like, okay, I didn't see the light. And so, but I knew that it felt good when I was doing it. So it was cool, right? A couple of days go by, I start getting a message. Yo, Amp, what's up, man? What's up? Yo, you alright? I'm good. What's up? How can I help you? I don't really know you that well. I'm good though. Are you okay? So, no, I just wondering. Yeah, I haven't seen your videos, man. I look forward to them every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, pretty cool. Hey, Aunt, haven't seen your videos, etc.
Yeah.
Really helping me out through some things. Thank you for sharing them. I'm like, oh, what? Get another message and another message.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Is someone pranking me today? Is someone know, like, someone I'm close to? Who did I talk to? Like, who did I talk to who's setting me up right now? And the videos were having an impact on people. And people were taking them really seriously and started to reach out to me after I stopped making them and was like, look, Aunt, like, you need to continue making these. So I said, okay, I'm going to continue making them. I said, they're helping somebody. Good. If they're helping, all right, fine. Right? Cool. So fast forward another 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah.
I'm putting out videos and whatnot. And I said, getting good feedback, right? People are like really into it. So I said, okay, what if I could get people off Facebook and get professionals, entrepreneurs in a room that were like-minded like me, that were out for the same visions, in the same industries, and looking to build. Lo and behold, we started a little meeting. And I ran the meeting for about 2.5 months and was able to build it up to 20 plus professionals coming once a month. I mean, once a week. And they were coming to learn.
Yeah.
And they were open and they were willing to share themselves with the room. And I said, wow, this is really powerful. So cut the meetings. Why? Because if companies and people knew how to do this, well, that's a very lucrative skill set to have.
Yeah.
Imagine a large company can get their employees actually excited and get in a room to learn something that could be beneficial and to build them and the company. Great. Right?
Yeah.
So started to see the light there. And continuing to make videos, continuing to put out content. I hit a wall. I couldn't just put out regular pictures and regular videos anymore. I got tired of seeing myself selfie style, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here, I'm still in the same spot, still working construction every day, doing 12-hour days, making the content, putting myself out there, and I'm like, okay, like what's the next step? What's the next step? And it wasn't until, I got really fed up because I couldn't figure a way around this. I didn't have money for a videographer.
Right.
I didn't have money for a photographer, and I didn't have money for a video editor. That's for sure. So I'm like, I want my content to get to that next level, and I need it to look professional, but how do I do it without spending an exorbitant amount of money that I don't have, right?
Right.
So what I decided was I'm going to figure a workaround. There's got to be an app for that. Seriously, that's what I said to myself. I said there's got to be an app for that. Like all these techie, appy things, like where's my app for content creation? How do I streamline this? How do I figure this out? You know,
Yeah.
where's the app for the guy who's broke and needs to figure out how to make his stuff look professional? Like, where's the easy solution? And there wasn't any. So I went through over 100 apps.
Yeah.
Right? And I was able to dwindle down that 100 apps down to the top 20 apps for content creation and repurposing. And so with those apps, I said, okay, I was taking one idea, right? And this is how I really got my content to start expanding and to create that omnipresence, right? Because that's the idea, right? With the social and whatnot.
Right. To be
So
on as many platforms as possible.
you want to be everywhere,
Yeah.
right? So how do you do that? And so I'm like, okay, I like the positivity, right? I like the personal development. I like the business development. Like, I like the entrepreneurial, talking about the entrepreneurial mindset, etc. That's good. So okay, I'm gonna hang my hat on that essentially, right? For the content creation part.
Yeah.
Because people don't care what you do, they care why you do it and you know what it is that you're actually doing from your heart.
Yeah.
So that was something from my heart that I genuinely put out to the world. So you know, forget the business stuff. I'm just gonna go for the heart-centric stuff because that's who I am and that's how I can portray who I am the best way.
Yeah.
And so taking these apps, there's 20 different apps, I said, okay, I'm gonna write a status in the morning. I'm gonna say, I'm so grateful to be alive this morning. I hope everyone has a beautiful day, right? And I said, okay, if I'm gonna scale my content in a manageable way, I said I gotta take that one idea and I gotta be able to stretch that idea as far as possible. So with these apps, I was able to stretch the content, one idea, into 8 different pieces of content. So I could take a photo and run it through X, Y, and Z apps, and I'll get a piece of content. I'll take a video and run it through these apps. I'll get a piece of content, right? So I set that system up, and it was great, and it still is great, and it's worked like a charm. But the other half of the puzzle is always, where the hell do you put this stuff? And what makes sense to put where? And that's the repurposing part. Because what you do and what you put on your story, well, you can alter that same content and then make it a Facebook post. And then you can alter that same content, make it a Twitter post, alter that same content and make a YouTube post, right? So how do you keep playing checker pieces with the same ideas, but reshaping them and presenting them differently?
Yes.
And so that will allow you to scale and have longevity with your message in the marketplace. That'll help create omnipresence, and that will also result in more referrals for your business because you're touching more people. You have a more professional presentation, and that is going to lead to more referrals for you because you're building rapport on a mass scale, right? Taking Dunbar's number 150 and exploding that. And you're actually being authentic to who you are because you're understanding what to share and how to share it and why to share it. So once I really zoned in and I had that, right, then I was like, okay, now I got something that I can bring to market and a product that I could scale, which is great. And then I ended up meeting, you know, people who work with very high level entrepreneurs from the marketing aspect. And I've been able to really plug and play some key factors in building that and scaling that out, which is a blessing because, you know, obviously I'm not doing contracting anymore. And I've been able to leverage that knowledge of building that with lending institutions to get into real estate offices to teach their agents how to brand their content and scale it, right? Because everyone wins there. The broker, all their people know how to stamp their stuff. They can then stamp stuff for themselves and send it out there, have it properly branded, have it professional looking, etc. And it's a weight off of, you know, the creator's shoulders once they have a roadmap, you know. So that's kind of like how things morphed along, you know.
Hey, so Antoine, so I wanted to give our guests a nice bonus, right?
Okay.
For being here, and listening to the podcast or watching the podcast.
Thanks.
Especially the watchers. So we have Antoine, who is an expert here in Chimneys, right? And he's going to give us a brief introduction into Chimneys. What are some of the issues that can come up with the
Sure.
Chimneys? And also, what are the costs to repair those issues? Just a brief introduction.
Yep, I'll be happy to do that. Definitely, I know it's not something you come across every day,
Right.
so it's definitely nice to have a little guideline, especially for the investors out there who are doing, fix and flips and whatnot. Believe me, I understand the industry, and it's not always comparing apples to apples
Yeah.
all the time. So it's nice to have a little bit of a roadmap. So we could do that and kind of
Yeah.
lay it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Let's.